So timestamps exist in case you want to skip forward, but just to show off at least the intro here, yes, I truly am running a gold ship. If you want to see that, just go see the video, which is also linked to an unlisted video in case you want to see it. But otherwise, yeah, not really much else to go here. I was going to say something else and I forgot. Well, hopefully I remember later on. But otherwise, not really putting too much thought into this legend race because it's a medium race. And guess what? I'm just going to run gold ship. But to at least show what you're going against, we can go in here and then we will show this winning ticket. So this winning ticket you're racing against, again, we're just going through the motions here. Nothing too special. In fact, I mean, if you were essentially preparing for the champions meet, you will just smash this legend race, theoretically speaking. But if nothing else, again, I just want to make at least one video just to go through it. And that's about all I need to say. Otherwise, we just get blocked and lose. That's another real possibility. But I'm not going to parfait. So if nothing else, yeah, we're just going to do a bunch of gold chip. Maybe throw in Symboli Rudolf and or Oguri Cap. But until gold chip wins, we won't switch out our racers. That's essentially what I'm trying to go for. Not really much else to look at. Let's just go in and make this video as short as possible for your sake, because you, the viewer, are likely going to be a trainer, and you are likely doing your champions meet, or you have not done your champions meeting yet, which, funny enough, the first 1 or 2 hours are actually the best times if you wanted quote-unquote easier races, at least from what I know. And even my Musume were not prepared at all. They have medium S, but missing a lot of acceleration here and there, so pretty much just picked up redshift to be sure, and yeah. But otherwise, that's right, this gold ship is using gate cap. But it doesn't really matter, I did it for the lore. Now, I would also pick the navigational perk if I really wanted to immerse myself, but that would be too much. Also, the other thing I could say, I don't know if it's what I wanted to say, but yes, a lot of people are, you see a lot of gold ships in this current champions meet. I won't deny she's the easiest to build, but as someone who, quote-unquote, at least self-proclaims that he mains training gold ship, yeah, let me tell you, it's not a walk in the park if you are missing information here and there, whether it's acceleration skills, whether it's medium S aptitude lacking it, or thinking that end closer S aptitude is more important. It's cool if you can get it, but you really want to focus medium S aptitude. Again, go watch those, either the champions meeting video or the gold ship Batsu episode 10 to see basically how I trained and prepared. But the end result is get 1200 speed, get medium S, and get at least, at minimum, 1 acceleration perk, mainly redshift. If you're an end closer, yes, you are supposed to take pump some iron, but I personally don't like taking that. Especially because part of it was that I wanted to counter the multiple gold chips that I'll be running into, and so if depending on the, so we can even just see this now. So before that little ticker up here, before we reach the last leg of the race, if gold chip is in 5th place or above, then pretty much we weren't gonna proc pump some. Actually, no, we need to be low, so we're not gonna proc pump some iron anyway. But it's a different race. Yes, there's some nuance because in races like this, there are 18 races, where in the champions meet there are only 9. So you're more likely, I will admit, you are supposed to bring let's pump some iron, the unique skill that increases acceleration. But yeah, that's not what happened for me. So, and I think even just looking back, I don't remember my races, but a lot of times my gold chip was hitting 5th or 4th before even we had the chance to, if I had that perk or skill, to proc that skill. So I'm shrugging real life as I say, to me it didn't really matter. But otherwise, as we finished off this legend race, yeah, we'll throw in not Tokai Teo. We'll throw in Symboli Rudolf and Oguri Cap if for no other reason than to get more trophies in the room. Even though that is going to hurt myself, really, in terms of number of gold chip trophies. But, so, yeah, without further ado, did I show the gold chip that I was using, by the way? I mean, again, you'll see it in the champions meeting. Not really much else to look at here. I mean, that's literally what you see is what you get. Otherwise, looking into the Symboli Rudolf that I'm using, both for champions meet and for this video, yeah, nothing special here either. Aside from the 2 acceleration skills that you pretty much are supposed to take. Again, just to talk while this loading is going on, I did want my Symboli Rudolf to be a late surger for the champions meet, but because I got pace chaser in corners and then I got a bunch of stamina perks, or stamina skills. I keep calling them perks. Why do I call them perks? Anywho. Yeah, I got Gourmand and as well, so I just decided to make my Symboli Rudolf a pace chaser. Not that it matters if there's like 2 or more debuffers in the champions meet anyway. If there are 2 more proper debuffers, the way I built my Symboli Rudolf, even if she were a late surger, it wouldn't matter, basically. I feel quite confident in saying that, but I could be wrong. But otherwise, yes, I have been watching other people do Champions Meet for the last few hours. It's been very, very interesting. I think the biggest mistake I've seen people make is basically getting aptitude. So if nothing else, those who are, whether you're a tourist or whether you're here for global server as your first time with Musume, know now that 1200 speed and S in your distance aptitude is the most important thing to, as kind of like the baseline of what you're trying to hit. And I mentioned this during the Gold Chip episode 10, Batsu, but again, in case people didn't know the essential gameplay loop of Musume, aside from obviously getting supports, getting legacies, and your inspirations, so basically the breedings, as some people, trainers might call it, but on top of that is just the RNG of just training in general. So what are you trying to do? So again, with the two examples I named, 1200 speed and medium S, 1200 speed, I mean, getting 1200 into stat isn't the worst thing in the world to do, but if you don't have the resources, it's one thing to think of. There's not a mental stack, but there's a stack of priorities. Ow, I hit my finger on the table. There's a stack of priorities, so hit 1200 speed, get your distance aptitude to S. Those are the bare minimum for a lot of PvP type events. It'll change there'll be some minor nuances moving forward or details to think of, but that's when you should really listen to veteran trainers or sources that know what they're talking about, or reputable sources, and really try to apply to what they, at least try to do what they're telling you to do once or twice. And if it doesn't work out, then you could kind of change your strategy. An example is that for me, I was, trying to look for, which isn't the worst. Obviously, there are ways to look for things that you want, as my Symboli Rudolf just gets blocked here. Yeah, I would probably lose because we get blocked. But there are ways to get guess Umas you want. If you don't know this much, I highly suggest that you look for resources online, because you will be rolled by a good 50-60% of the player base. A lot of, well, maybe like 40-30 really. And then the 50% of that 30-40 are going to be people with resources, whether you're a whale or you got lucky enough to get the like max uncapped support cards, as we finally break out from being blocked, but we were just blocked. But yeah, there are ways to look for things that you need and or want. For free-to-plays. Again, as someone who's a complete free-to-play, let me tell you, there are ways to break out. I mean, if you listen and learn properly, you won't have a problem, is what I'm trying to say. So as we move on to Oguri Cap here, here's my Oguri Cap. Again, nothing special again. So as someone who says, oh, they're maining Gold Chip, you'll notice that Oguri Cap here has Lone Wolf, and my Gold Chip does not. So, and I'm trying to make my Gold Chip my ace, which is something funny enough I forgot to do as well, as we get another awful mood here. Yes, I was supposed to put Lone Wolf on Gold Chip, I did not, so the reason for that was as I was raising my Gold Chip, I guess I must have forgotten, and then by the time I trained Symboli Rudolf and then Oguri Cap, I just figured that I'd slap Lone Wolf somewhere just in case I don't get another good Gold Chip. Because again, there's kind of a stack as Windows. It's kind of my USB, I really got to figure it out, but I can't do this on another setup because problems. But yeah, there's a lot in the priority stack. Again, hitting 1200 speed, hitting the stamina requirement, and or getting the gold skills that you need to survive what you want to survive, because there's some nuance there as well. And then getting medium S aptitude, and then getting both acceleration skills, which was not something, again, you kind of work bottom up. So again, for example, if you're just starting out, just focus on getting, say, speed to 1200. Once you can do that, then work on getting, say, inheriting aptitude into S, medium S, long S, depending on the distance you're running for outside of the career mode, and then making sure you have enough stamina. Add stacks, although stamina is first. So get your speed to 1200, then make sure you can survive the race that you want to do with stamina and or skills to pick up that recover stamina, and then work on aptitude. Although, again, stamina and aptitude are both important. Without one, you will just completely collapse, and that's kind of the bare minimum for, well, Champions Meet at least, but other PvP modes that you might be interested in running Musume in. But yes, that's where the RNG comes in, because you have to say, okay, am I lucky enough to hit this, or do I have the resources to hit this, or the luck to hit this? 1200 speed, okay, once I do this, am I going to be lucky during the inheritances, which can be like 10 to 20%-ish, I forgot the exact rates, but upwards of max 20% of getting what you want, depending on your inheritances. Again, there's some give and take based on your resources, and I think this is where the strategization comes in. And that's when I knew I was like, oh, I'm not going to get shooting for victory or redshift, or I'm not going to get redshift and let's pump some iron. So I was just like, well, gotta stick with one acceleration, because that at least for this Champions meeting, and for those training, you can kind of course correct if you don't really care about performance and whatnot, or records, but you can still course correct. For the love of Musume, in general, or just crowd of Musume as we hopefully pass our 200 meters Triumphant Pulse, yeah. And yeah, for the love of Musume, please grab at least Red Shift and or Shooting for Victory on Musume that you're planning to field into Champions Meet. It will do you a lot of good. But again, if you don't have medium S aptitude, S rank aptitude, if you don't have 1200 speed, if you don't have the stamina requirements because you run into a nice nature, or you just don't have the stamina requirements, if you have less than 600 stamina, please, for the love of Musume, fix your stamina. Because otherwise you will just completely kaput. But yeah, I'll do that later because this is the end of the video. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, you know what to do. If you want to support me, you also know what to do. Otherwise, yeah, I'm just going to continue doing my gold chip life, and I will see you when I see you. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you later. Bye!